Hello, everybody. Mangria Fueled here. APPW recently had its biggest show of the year, Decent Mania 3. And as a personal favor to me, I'm asking everybody who watches this to please share Decent Mania 3 with your friends. I just want to get the count, the views up to 100, because the previous two Decent Mania surpassed 100. My goal is for this one to at least reach 100. As of right now, it's at 36, so more than the quarter way there. Whoever watches this Hangover, please, if you can, just share Decent Mania 3, like I said, with as many people as you can. Get that count up to 100. I surely would appreciate it. So thank you in advance and enjoy After Party Hangover episode 103.
No fear, only fight. I'm fearless, it's only right. My head's up, I stay strong. Forever young, may you live long. With perseverance, hold on and stand tall. Never back down with my back against.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the After Party Hangover. I'm your host, Mangria Fueled, and this is a show that talks about a show that talks about a show. And today's guest, we have returned, so we want to make it big. We want the ratings, we want the views, we want the subscribers. So I had to make it rain over at the Brettzky mansion and give him a holla from across the pond. It's the Great Brettzky 99. How are you doing, my friend? It's been a bit.
It has been a bit. Well, when Mangria, I got a package in my residence of just a bunch of coins from Mangria. Wow, that went far. That was a bad idea. I knew I had to come on the After Party Hangover. I mean, we got a new episode of the Still After Party podcast. We got Mangria right here. We got Decent Mania 3 that came out. We had WrestleMania. We had all this great shit. MSK is gone. I'm excited, Mangria.
Yes. I was like, what better way to Lord Brettzky than to go into my ashtray, get some change, put it in an envelope, and send it? I mean, that was perfect. It was a master plan. No.
Oh, yeah. You know what you're doing over there.
Well, Brettzky, my man, you've been overseas. You're in good old jolly foreign land. Regale us. Do you have any tales to tell the pretzels or the viewers of the Steel World After Party, all four of them, about your journeys in merry old England?
The food's shit. Yeah, the food sucks here. But no, it's been a lot of fun. I've been farther away from Jake than I ever have, which has been great. But no, it's been a little bit annoying because like I had to. It's just such a time difference. Like we're at 8 hours apart now. Like I'm 8 hours later than you are. Like it's like watching WrestleMania was absolutely fucking killer. To watch it live.
Two nights,
and the Hall of Fame the night before. It was starting at 3 a.m. for me. Oh my god. But it's been great. It's a lot of fun. I mean, so far I've been fortunate enough to be able to go to Madrid. I've been to Scotland. I actually last week got back from Scotland. I'm going to a trip through Oslo to Stockholm to Copenhagen in about a week, or a little bit less than a week. Obviously London itself has been great. So I've been having a lot of fun. I've had a lot less of a workload than I do back home usually in the States. And it's a lot less on my plate, a lot less on my shoulders. So I've been able to kind of relax, fuck around a little bit, enjoy myself, legally drink, which has been nice. And it's been a lot of fun. I'm excited to get back home, but it's been a lot of fun out here.
Just don't get carried away with the drinking. You'll end up looking like this. It's bad. It's bad. Well, we see your Instagram posts. We're all living vicariously through you, my friend. Any dipping in the foreign tea, if you get my drift?
Oh, well, oh, yeah. What can I say? Yeah, I am the great.
All you have to do is flash your perfect teeth, and the ladies will be like,
yeah.
"What's all this, then, love?"
Can't fucking understand these people. I swear to God.
Oh boy. Hey, you can meet up with Terry and James out there from the Brothers of Penetration.
No, I have a bad track record of people I meet, so
True. That's true. Yeah, let's not do that. Well, my friend, we actually have two episodes of the Still Real After Party to talk about. Episode 150 and 151. They return for their predictions and the aftermath. So we'll start with SRAP episode 150, Unracist Eyes.
Great title.
Jake is sick in this episode. This is fresh off the Will Smith Chris Rock incident, so they had some jokes in there, as well as the WWE for the entire week. There was a small moment of dead air because Jake took a drink and Zenka was silent. This is specifically, I'm glad you're here with me because we're both hosts of podcasts. But I guess I'm fortunate enough to have Cesar on my podcast. So there's no we have to fight. We have to fight to get what we have to say in because he's just all over that shit. But the faux pod, you're still hosting the faux pod. You're still hosting it from where you are as well. How is that going? And have you had any more dead silence issues on your podcast?
Well, see, I'm professional, so I cut out dead silence.
Oh, okay, that's good. That's good.
But no, it's been tough. I've had a much less rigid schedule for the faux pod, unfortunately. Like this past week, I missed. I'm kind of going every other week at this point. It's just tougher because it's time zones and it's tough meeting people on the campus when you come in like the second semester of a year when people already know people, and so it's been kind of tough. But no, I've still been hosting. I've still been going strong with the faux pod. But no, I cringed when there was a dead air because again, like you and I know, especially anyone who does anything with like media or whether it's YouTube, podcasting, anything like that at all, how just deadly dead air is. So they could have used Cesar in that moment because I just heard that dead air and I knew I'm like, oh my god, like
dead air is horrible when you watch it on like the Tonight shows or the late shows, but when you're on a forum where there's no visual besides what we're doing now, audio, it's horrible because when people are listening, they're like, did it stop? Do I need to turn the volume up? What happened here?
Well, I checked my phone. I checked my quick pause by accident. And then Jake said, oh, dead air. Oh, diddling kids, whatever Jake says. And, then I knew it was fine. But
yeah, it was just something I'm glad I got to bring up with you because, it's a problem we want to avoid like the plague. Jake, oh yeah, another thing, Jake, if you're watching, I don't know if you are, probably not.
He's not gonna watch. You kidding?
You sit too close to the mic, my friend. Every time Jake, you can hear Jake laughing, goes like you can hear him do.
You can hear the folds on his neck.
It's the air expressing from his gills. No, it's just you can very heavy breathing laugh. I don't know how they're set up and whatever studio they're doing at work, but just get a little further away from the mic. It's okay. Because it just sounds like he has the microphone.
It kind of does at times. And then every now and then, like Zanko, like walk away and like you'll just hear him be like, yeah, sorry.
I don't know.
But that's our Still After Party. I mean, that's kind of what you sign up for. So
that's exactly right. It's just funny how when you host your own show, you have your own show, you notice specific things. Like I'm a janitor, so when I walk into a place, I look straight up at the vents and I see how dusty they are. I'm like, look at this fuck shit right here. And when you're a podcast host, you notice these certain little things. But I listen to them multiple times, so I notice almost everything.
So you have to listen like 3 hours of Jake total per day, which I don't know how you're still here.
I'm on suicide watch. People call in every hour. They both love Dolph as NXT champion. I got issues with this. Okay, I know you've been a champion for 2.0. Me and the guys on the tripod, we have mixed feelings about it. Like
oh, you mean NXT 2.0? Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about AEW's greatest tag team. But...
No, it's just the whole, I don't know. It's kind of hard to hate on something that I love so much. The color scheme is silly. That's a dead issue though. They changed the belts recently, sort of. It's
not drastically.
2.0, it seems like I understand characters make it more interesting, but with Black and Gold, and what I feel was so, it felt more genuine. Like I'm thinking back to the Champa Gargano days. I'm thinking back to even the Neville days. Like everything just seemed more kind of, I don't want to say indie-ish, but it just seemed so much more serious. And when they splashed clown paint all over the brand and brought in a whole new batch of dudes with these weird gimmicks. I mean, no offense to Chase. Chase is great.
Don't you dare! Don't you dare say anything about Andre Chase. Don't
Chase
you dare!
Is great. It's great. But when they have fucking Wendy Chu is taking naps.
Okay, she's stupid.
That's really, it's ridiculous. And Wade's like, she loves orange soda. Oi. It's just it's so dumb.
Orange soda.
And you know what? Fuck Tony D. I don't like that character no more.
Oh
Tony
my
D,
god, I hate you.
The stupidest. That is so dumb.
He is the Don. He is the Don of your Tuesday nights, you motherfucker.
You really think this character is gonna last? A stereotypical Guido. Hey, Tony D.
Everyone loves him.
Stupid. It's so dumb.
Everyone loves him.
No, it's not gonna last. Well, let's check in 5 years, see if he's still doing this dumb shit. It's so dumb.
I think you're wrong about NXT 2.0 because I don't know if you watched Randy Orton's interview on Pat McAfee show, but he was saying shit like his, he was talking about Hanley about like how he kind of like lost his passion for wrestling, whatever, like, until Edge came back, really. And then he kind of like really picked up again. He was saying like, yeah, these guys come from NXT and they don't know how to work. Like it's a shoot punch. Like they fully lay in. Like it's not sustainable. And so I get what you're saying. And who doesn't love Black and Gold NXT? But it doesn't. Like, that's the thing is like you would see these guys get up, and obviously the booking is not their fault as to whether or not they're booked strong or not. And a guy like, for example, Robert Roode, is a seasoned veteran. Like he's an exception to the rule, or Samoa Joe, or whatever it might be. But if you're not ready to like, if you can do that every Tuesday without doing, I mean, obviously they used to do some house shows. You can do that with like a lesser schedule. You can do that on NXT. But if you're doing that 5 days a week, like 350 days out of the year, it's going to hurt you, and it's going to piss people like Randy Orton or Edge or McIntyre off. Like it's not sustainable. And so NXT 2.0, I feel like it's such a better preparation for actual main roster because you're dealing with Vince, you're dealing with Pritchard, you're dealing with more of a character base. It still has those indie feelings with the arena and with certain matches and all that stuff, but it's less of a pure indie feel, which I understand it makes for less, great 5-star matches. Like Mandy Rose isn't a 5-star in-ring worker, but I'd rather watch Mandy Rose because, who wouldn't? But like, I'd rather watch Mandy Rose with the character development. I'd rather watch Toxic Attraction as a group than some of the fucking bullshit that they used to have where it's just like, oh, I'm a really good wrestler. Like, as much as I love Timothy Thatcher, like, I'm a massive Thatcher fan. But, he was one of the few that had an actual gimmick. He's teaching people how to, right? He's like the shoot professor or whatever the fuck it is. People didn't have gimmicks, and they laid it in too much, which I loved it. And it was great TV. But it's not sustainable. And that's part of the reason in my mind of why they flopped on the main roster, because you need to have that ability to go and say, like, what's going to make me last? What's going to give me that longevity? Having a gimmick, so people know that you're not just great wrestler number 59, and they're like, oh yeah, that's Tony D. He's a Don, yeah, Tony D, Don of NXT, or oh hey, that's Andre Chase, best gimmick in the world. Love Andre Chase, by the way. It differentiates them. It teaches them to be better prepared to actually go on the road. Yeah, sure, the color scheme is stupid, but if you're watching NXT 2.0 and you're like, oh, the colors suck, I'm not gonna watch anymore, then like, what the, like, no, like, it's a stupid. Yeah, like, obviously, the color scheme isn't great, but who cares? Like, it's just a color scheme. It's like, if I'm not a fan of the color red, I'm not gonna be like, oh, Raw's color scheme sucks, I like blue. Like, like,
it's just aesthetically unpleasing. It's kind of like they said, well, if we're not going to do black and gold, what color do you want to do? How do you want to change things up? And Vince goes, fuck it, we'll use every color. It's kind of creatively bankrupt to me, aesthetically. Just aesthetically, I'm talking. I'm not judging why I watch NXT based on the color scheme. I'm saying it's creatively bankrupt to use every color, paintball. When Dynamite was doing the explosions of all the colors and shit, it's like, really? You guys don't think you guys are kind of trying too hard to be like that? I don't know. That's just me.
Well, no, I agree. No, I agree. I get what you're saying, and I think that the whole multicolor thing is stupid. But like, I got used to it. Like I would say I don't watch fully every week. I mean, it's tough to watch every week. When I'm not doing the tripod. Like I still watch like 95% of the shows. And like, yeah, it's a stupid color scheme. Like I'd rather the rock and roll theme songs and the like the weird like R&B or not R&B, fucking like EDM theme songs. But like whatever, you get used to it after a while. It's the same way I'm used to Gunther instead of Walter. How I love Butch now. It's like just a name, just a color scheme. Like
wait, you didn't say it the Brettzky way.
Gunther. I said it once. I said Gunther once, and apparently there's a Brettzky way now.
It popped us, man. That was hilarious. Gunther. It was fucking funny. But yeah, and then having the NXT Championship on Raw, to me,
I hated that.
It kind of diluted it, if that makes sense. It's kind of like when they had the Impact Championship on Dynamite. It's kind of and the audience who's not familiar, which is all of Raw's audience, is not familiar with NXT. They're like, oh yeah, okay, yay, oh sure, this title, okay, when's Brock coming out? Like they don't really make it it's not important. It doesn't mean as much when you see it on Raw. And then Braun wins it on Raw. He doesn't win it on Stand and Deliver. Plus that cost me a point, you asshole. No. No, but
I get it from a business standpoint. I do get it from a business standpoint of like, oh, we get more exposure because there's more of an audience on Raw than there is on, especially the Raw for Mania.
Yeah.
I get it. I don't agree with it. I think it would have been much better to have Braun win it on Stand and Deliver, and maybe like you show a replay of it on Raw and be like, Braun Breaker's coronation tomorrow night. I think that would have been better. And show highlights in the match. But I mean, I get it. Like I can't fault them for trying. Like I agree, but I can't fault them for trying.
I wouldn't go this drastic. I'm just using this as an example.
Don't you dare say anything bad about Andre Chase.
I'm using this as an example of how they could have played the NXT champion on Raw to make NXT seem more credible or more, they take it more serious. Instead of having a championship match on Raw where people got up and used the bathroom, how about they use the NXT champion to take on champions of the main roster to make the NXT champion seem like a badass by taking out a United States champion. Remember, I'm only using this as an example. He fights Roman. Doesn't have to win, but looks strong against Roman to where he could have won, but like maybe some Uso fuck shit, Roman wins. But to have it just be a title defense on a show that's not NXT, I think dilutes the title. I don't think the crowd was invested. Braun, that's another podcast to talk about Braun. But
that's called the tripod.
I just think the NXT champion, the championship should not be defended on Raw. They shouldn't have had a major title change like that. It kind of made Stand and Deliver less important to me. I'm just talking me personally here about my feelings for the NXT championship, how NXT is going. I'm going to keep watching no matter what. I love NXT. I'm a diehard NXT fan. Always been a fan. But yeah, we'll see where it goes from here. Hopefully it's going to be better than worse moving forward.
It's so good now. I mean, and obviously it's a very personal thing, but you have Carmelo Hayes, you got Grayson Waller, one of the top five heels in the business right now. Grayson Waller. I have no idea. I don't remember if he's actually hurt or not, but big ups to Grayson Waller for that fucking insane album drop. You got, I know you don't like Tony D, but the majority of people like Tony D. Now you got LA Knight, yeah. You got Punta. Von Breaker. I mean, there's an incredible wealth of talent. Gigi Dolan, in Toxic Attraction. Io Shirai should be on the main roster. But there's a wealth of talent there. I will say, to your point of how to get them over on Raw before we move on, the real way to get an NXT champion over on Raw is have him come out in a mask and get rolled up by Jeff Hardy.
That's a good idea. You know what, Vince? I hope you're taking notes.
I hope you guys are watching. Yeah.
Moving on. Zenka loves Lucha Logan because he's some white kid who's never been in pro wrestling, just disrespecting Ray.
Lucha Logan's so good.
This is Zenka's own words. This is what he said. This was back in episode 150, of course.
No, I know. I'm agreeing with him. I'm agreeing with Zenka, because Zenka and I have been on the Lucha Logan bandwagon from the time he started.
It's funny that they had Lucha Logan on the community creations as well. Well, they had Logan. I just put the fucking mask on him and he came out, but he was at Decent Mania. Lucha Logan is funny, and celebrities. They're doing great matches. So, I mean, big ups to Lucha Logan and Stallion Pete, of course. But explain to me, Brettzky, why Lucha Logan is fantastic in your own words.
Because he's a natural heel. I mean, I will say, I like Logan Paul a lot more than Jake Paul. I think Jake Paul would be an even bigger heel because he's much more of a smarmy little shit than Logan is. Like, Logan's actually matured and seems like he's learned from his mistakes to some degree, whatever. But no, he just gets it. Like, you saw. I mean, he was great in the ring already. He has a great physique. He looks the part, and you want to beat him. You want to punch him. Even if you've never actually watched the Logan Paul, his podcast or any of his YouTube stuff, even if you've never actually paid attention to his career, you know who Logan Paul is. You know who the Paul brothers are, and you want to beat the fuck out of them. And so to have this guy come out and just, he's, especially in the match, doing the Eddie Guerrero shit, and he didn't just stand there, take a 619 and that was it. He did a lot, and he was great at it. And apparently I read that Vince was a very big fan of it, and there might be talks for more stuff in the future, which I am very much here for. He just gets it. He's one of the he was there. He had one match and was there for a few appearances, and he's already one of the best heels in the business right now because he has legitimate heat. People want to watch him lose. He just gets it.
Logan Paul is a natural born sports entertainer. Jake Paul, he needs to lay off the roids, because did you see him on the pre-show? He was legit wanting to go fight the fans because they were booing him.
Yeah.
I'll show you who to boo at. He was all kinds of full of bravado and dumb shit. I thought that was funny. But yeah, that's true. I agree with what you said.
And he looks really good in a lucha mask.
Zenka said that Pete's name is gay, Butch is better. That's another a fucking sore subject. We both called it on the tripod that Peter Dune was going to the main roster. Little did we know that they were going to change his name and make him into a fighting leprechaun alongside Sheamus and Ridge.
Don't forget, they never said that was his real name. They said it was his nickname.
Okay, that's good. Pete Dunne, name change. I'm kind of used to it now. Like you said, you're used to the NXT color scheme. I'm used to Butch now. But the way they're making him seem like a like a fucking drunk leprechaun who he's like a rabid pit bull. They can't hold him back, and they're just laughing while they're holding him. And Pete Dunne's like, "Arr, arr, arr." It's just.
It's so funny.
It's funny. It's hard to take him serious though, because he's the Pete Dunne that we love, and now I just hope he does something significant very soon, because it's comical. It's comical what they've done to Butch.
I mean, they put him in that faction, which they seem like they have a lot. I mean, they made a point they couldn't fit them on Mania Saturday, so let's get them on Mania Sundays of cutting them entirely. And they clearly have. They're putting with the New Day. They have high hopes for Ridge Holland, obviously, and Sheamus is Sheamus. Putting him with them, to me at least, indicates that they have at least medium hopes for him. because he is that kind of guy that you can do. And I honestly, like, obviously Butch, it's very funny, but I feel like you can still take him seriously because we've seen that he just beats the fuck out of people as Butch. It's just funny now. They just hold him back now. They have to pull him off of the guy, but he still beats the fuck out of people. I mean, and I'm still holding out hope that they never said, again, they never said that his name is Butch. They said his nickname. They call him Butch.
You know what I would have loved? I would have loved if Sheamus and Ridge were like, I can't do their accent. I'm not gonna try. They're like all, yeah, we're badasses, but there's a real badass. I heard he's been calling me. He's gonna come over here pretty soon. I heard, and Ridge is
Marco Stunt.
Yeah, he's gonna turn this whole. He's gonna fuck everybody up, like not in those words. And then we'll see Sheamus and Ridge. They'll fight the New Day. They lose to the New Day, and the New Day are clapping. They leave, and Ridge and Sheamus are in the ring. They're like, man, it's okay, it's okay. And then Butch's music hits, and they look, and they're all scared. They're like, oh shit, it's the boss. Butch walking down there with his short old derby hat and looking all weird. He gets in there and he does the regal slaps to both of them to like get their shit together, and they're scared of Butch. I would have kind of liked that, as opposed to like, oh, he's just a rambunctious little fella. We're gonna hold him back because he's gonna start punching people. I would have liked that fucking Butch would have been like their stable leader, as opposed to the little pit bull. What do you think?
I couldn't buy that. I could not buy that because of Sheamus. Sheamus is the veteran. He's been there and done that multiple times. I cannot buy, especially even if I didn't know Pete Dunne was, maybe. And if I didn't know he was like fucking 23 or whatever it is, like I couldn't, even just knowing who Pete Dunne is, even if he came out as Butch, like I could not, like if I saw him like slap Sheamus and Sheamus like, I'm sorry. I'm like, yeah, no, like that wouldn't happen. Like, that just doesn't make sense. Ridge, I couldn't believe, because Ridge never has shown anything like that. So I couldn't, I see what you're saying. But in that scenario, I'd much rather like they're all a unit still, and like the New Day walks away, and all of a sudden Butch beats the fuck out of all three of them backstage or something like that, and then he comes out and they'll raise their hands in the air or something. But I could not see Pete Dunne or Butch as like the leader or whatever like that. At least not right now.
It's just a side story that if I would have been a booker, I probably would have did that. But yeah, it probably wouldn't have been. I forgot he's only 23. That's incredibly young.
Or whatever it is. Like, I don't know if it's like 23 or 24 or something, like it's super young.
Yeah. As far as the LOL moment of the podcast for me is when they were talking about Rick Boogs. Zanka said that he looks like a Dick Cheese heel since he got his haircut. I thought that was hilarious. They were convinced that Elias was getting released. This was their prediction show. They were convinced that Elias was going to be among the released superstars post-Mania. Zanka, Jake, this is the Facebook questions portion of the episode.
Of course,
this is
legendary.
They screwed over Facebook Sean, which was hilarious. Jake makes Zanka read Facebook Sean's story. Zanka then speed reads to himself. I mean, give him credit. He did
read it.
He read the paragraph of hashtags afterwards.
No, he read this. Zanka actually, I don't know if you guys know this or not. Zanka's actually a world champion speed reader.
That's right.
And so like he tries to slow himself down and like make himself sound like he doesn't know how to speak English like on the podcast. But every now and then he'll get into that kind of mode. Like we've had conversations a lot extensively when we were going to be the Adidas of how he was just like this Guinness World Record holder speed reader. So he read that entire thing. He read it twice, as a matter of fact. But you just couldn't hear it. It's very hard to discern with the naked ear.
Well, plus, like you said earlier, the magic of podcast editing. So,
Of course.
Jake reads the first line of the second story, and that was it for that.
Jake actually has the Guinness World Record for the slowest reader of all time. So.
He's just slow. But what did you think of this epic segment here? Which, of course, the story continues to next week. But at this moment, when you heard this, what were you thinking?
I felt bad for Facebook Sean because I don't know, like obviously I always thought it was funny. They always popped me that the stories would piss them off so much, And so I think also, like, as we heard on the second episode on 151, how like Zank is more irritable in the morning, and they're doing it like 4:30 in the morning, whatever the fuck it is, because they're insane. Man, imagine doing the tripod at 4:30. I mean, we end at like 4:30 in the morning sometimes. So, like, imagine doing the tripod at 4:30 with Caesar, and like, oh my god. But no, I felt bad for Isaac Sean. I wanted to hear it, but I think it ended up being really funny. I hope he's not gone for good, though. Obviously, without spoiling, like, I hope he's not gone for good. I hope he still sticks around. Like, he sent a promo in for Decent Mania, which I was surprised to see. But I hope he's still in Facebook. I still hope he's gonna ask Facebook questions. But you know, big ups, Facebook Sean, big ups, Facebook Sean,
Stallion Pete
and Stallion Pete.
is up there.
He's up there somewhere.
That was fucking hilarious. Because of this segment in this episode, it motivated Facebook Sean so much that I said, hey, this kind of leads in perfect because you're facing Jake at Decent Mania 3. Do you want to send in a promo addressing what just happened? And he goes, yes, I will get that to you. Because usually I have to beg him. Usually I have to keep asking.
Right.
This time he had it. He's like, yes, I will do it. And so I was expecting what he did last time. He was sitting in his car and he did like a 30-second.
Yeah.
This time he did it all. Zoom.
I couldn't believe it.
He had a picture. The only thing is he had his real name in the corner, so I put the Fudge It Club logo over it. So he doesn't have his real name out there because he told me he doesn't want that information out there. But it's
his first name isn't Facebook and his last name isn't Sean?
Technically his first name is FB.
Oh, it's like initials.
He didn't want that out there.
Oh, it's like kind of like my favorite author. He IP freely.
Well, segueing into the Jake motivated. Brettzky, do you have some comedic material prepared for the after party hangover listeners?
Well, I've been talking to my friend Madcap Moss. And so, I mean, by the way, Madcap Moss, elite sense of humor, in case you didn't know. And actually, I'm trying to think. Instead of a joke, I actually do have a question for you, Mangria. I do have a question for you. Okay. How do you cut a Roman emperor's hair?
I give up.
With Caesars. I'm gonna use a real one now because that was actually stolen from the Corbin and Madcap Moss Snickers commercial. I just thought it was really funny. I wonder, actually, we're talking about Decent Mania. We're all connected from all over the world. I don't think there's anyone that we've met from Hawaii. And actually, I was thinking about this. I wonder if they allow like loud laughing in Hawaii, or is it just aloha?
Jake, you better be watching this.
No, Jake's gonna fast forward to this part. And then he's gonna send a text in the group chat of like, "Ha ha, that was funny," and then he's gonna never watch it again.
He's gonna have it transcribed and see if his name pops up. Be like, okay, pause.
Yeah, he transcribes Control F, Jake.
Oh, there's
you want more material? I can go.
Keep them rolling. Keep them rolling.
Give you more material. What do you call James Bond taking a bath? Bubble 07.
Oh, I think one of my cats just committed suicide.
Oh no, jumped out the window.
Yeah, he's hanging from the tree. Logan Paul commented on it. No.
Oh my god. God damn it.
Call back.
Oh man. And actually I took this lesson from Rick Boogs. Big ups to Rick Boogs. Get healthy, my man. I actually always keep a guitar in my passenger seat because it's great for traffic jams.
This is what they could use for torture when they capture prisoners in a POW.
Actually, we talked about how I'm living in England right now. I actually moved in the other day to a new house. I moved out of England. I actually moved to Alaska. I moved into an igloo as my new home, and my friends decided they're really nice. They decided to throw me a housewarming party, and now I'm homeless.
Jesus.
I think the
Okay,
viewer count
sorry.
just went to -5, so gonna continue on with the show as planned here.
Anything for the people. No. Okay, now it's time to talk about SRAP episode 151, Tony Khan facts.
I was confused as hell when I saw this title, and I was pleasantly surprised.
I was shocked as well. They start out by talking about Peacemaker. It's awesome. Brettzky, have you seen Peacemaker?
I have not. I really want to. I don't have the what's on Paramount Plus.
It's on HBO Max.
HBO. Oh, I actually do have HBO Max. I should watch it then. I do. I'll try to watch it. I thought it was on. I didn't realize it was on HBO, so I'll try to watch it. I've only ever heard great things about it.
Well, I'm not one to spoil anything, so I will not say anything besides it is awesome. Oh, have you met anybody? You had to have met someone there whose name is Gunther. Have you ever met a Gunther in real life?
No, but it's funny. I thought Jake would have known this because Jake, it seems like the kind of person who would watch this. I don't know if you know the show Adventure Time.
Oh, yeah.
The fucking penguin is named Gunther. And it's funny to me because that's kind of what I thought of when I first heard Gunther. I didn't think of apparently the fucking general that they claimed he was named after, which I still don't think he was. Maybe that's why Nash Carter was fired, because they wanted to make up for the Gunther mishap. But no, bye-bye MSK. I will not be seeing you on Dark anytime soon because I don't watch Dark. No, Gunther is the penguin from Adventure Time, and so he's also super evil, which is really funny to me. But no, I actually have not met a Gunther. I have not met a single Gunther because I'm not studying in Germany or Austria. So
I think I'm in the same fat boat as Jake. When I hear Gunther, I think of the barista from Friends.
Is that what his name was?
Yeah, his name was Gunther. Sadly, he passed
This is
away.
a weird name for a barista on Friends. Why? Is he German?
No, he was. It was as confusing as you can think.
Why?
Sadly, he has passed away. So big ups to Gunther and Stallion Pete.
Of course.
Jake watches Euphoria. He's never seen so many flaccid penises in his life. I've seen
That's a lie. I've been in the basement. That's a lie.
I've seen one episode of Euphoria, and it is the worst thing that's ever been created. I hope no people in the younger generation watches this show. It's such a horrible message to send to young kids. Everyone gets high, just like he says. Everyone's a drug addict. Everyone's a whore. People, it's an awful show. I mean, looks wise, it looks fantastic. Like from a cinematic, like just the way it looks. But the subject matter, you can skip out on. It's horrible. It's horrible. Just
the way I knew not to watch it. The way I knew not to watch it was friends of mine who are of the female orientation were like, "Oh my god, you haven't seen Euphoria? You have to watch it." I'm like, okay, well now I'm not going to watch. So
don't. It's a big waste of time. Then they get into a WrestleMania review.
Great card.
This is where I want to get your opinion, sir. I want to know 3 things from Brettzky. I want to know Brettzky's highlight of WrestleMania. I want to know your favorite match of WrestleMania. And I want to know your low light of this past WrestleMania. 2 nights. The most stupendous WrestleMania 2-night experience of the year. What are your thoughts, sir?
Oh, man. Oh, I think it was great. I want to say something real quick first about the Roman Reigns Brock Lesnar main event. Really quick, because I know people it's kind of mixed reviews on it, and I agree that in ring this was not their best one. I think their best match was in ring was actually WrestleMania 31, which it got shit on because of the build and like how they played the fucking stupid ass tug of war like a Raw before Mania. But it was you go back and watch that match and it holds up.
Oh, I was there,
especially with you were there.
I was there when Seth Rollins cashed in. If there was a roof, it would have exploded.
That I unless I just forgot. I didn't realize you were there. That's awesome. Makes sense, I guess, location wise. But I think that match holds up. That's probably their best match, especially with Rollins coming in. But here's the thing, and I know Cesar will disagree with me because we've had this conversation a lot before on the tripod of story versus in ring. I'm a story guy. I want to be able to sink my teeth in something, and this was the best build and the best program that they've told between these two. And so to me, the match was It was 10 minutes. It was pretty much like them going through it seemed like they were just going through the motions of their usual match with a couple of ad things. Whatever. It wasn't it wasn't a stinker. It didn't destroy, it didn't make me want to shoot myself like their one at WrestleMania 34 did. And it had a fucking phenomenal build. I'll take that. You go back and watch fucking Hogan versus Andre, it's like 5 minutes. I'm not saying these two are Hogan and Andre, but more people talk about Hogan and Andre from that WrestleMania than do about pretty much anything else, with the exception maybe of Savage and Steamboat. So obviously there's a place for the in-ring technicians, and obviously, but give me a story to sink my teeth into. People are going to remember that feud and remember that match. They're like, yeah, Roman Reigns beat Brock Lesnar. They're not going to say that was a 5-star technical classic. They're going to say Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar had a great feud, and Roman beat Brock and became undisputed champion.
I agree with you 100% about the build. The build was awesome. I mean, every SmackDown and Raw you saw, they played the video package. They got you invested. It wasn't necessarily the biggest match of all time, but the feud and the story that was being told and their history, it all made sense. It made for a great story. The match, like you said, it was just, suplex, repeat, Superman punch, repeat.
Yeah, but, it was what it was.
The one thing I remember WrestleMania 31 that will forever be burned into my memory is when Brock, it looked like he legit was punching Roman, and Roman had some blood. And
that's right.
And he started laughing, goes, okay, it's like that. Okay.
I remember that actually. Yeah.
And then it looked like that's it. We're fighting for real. And they started beating the fuck out of each other. That was their best match. You are correct. 34. Oh God, that was bad.
Well, everyone thought that Lesnar was leaving, and then Lesnar won.
He won, and that's when Lesnar threw the belt. Remember, Lesnar threw the belt at fucking Vince. Like, that was a horrible way to end the night. I don't know what they were thinking, but it just was another stepping stone to what happened this past WrestleMania. It just got you more invested. Like, these guys, this is kind of, I'm not, again, just for example, don't get mad. It's kind of reminiscent to Stone Cold and Rock because of the WrestleMania history. They had 3 as well. Brock and Roman, this is their 3rd. The first one, of course, Seth spoiled. The second one, Brock won as a heel. And in the 3rd one, Roman was heel, the greatest heel today. And he wins. Of course, he should. Roman is now permanently in God mode. I think the match will be remembered for me, the build, not the actual match.
Exactly. But that's
that iconic shot of Roman struggling to hold up his arm and he had the belt.
The fact that he's not in a cast.
Yeah.
I
thought for sure he would have came out on Raw with the fucking sling like that and have like both belts over his shoulder or some shit. But I agree with you on that.
The build, the feud made the match. The match did not make the feud.
Yes.
And I said that in the chat, and I think that's 100% true. And I agree with what you're saying. It's obviously not up there with Rock and Stone Cold, but it's the best, especially when you throw in the Rollins twist, like Rollins fought Roman at Rumble. Like, Rollins has been involved in the story in a lot of ways, because Rollins has also had his own stuff with Brock because of what happened at Mania 31. It's been one of the best, and people don't want to admit it, but it's one of the best long-term stories that they've had in a long time. But anyway, going back to WrestleMania as a whole, my top moments were a tie between Wee Man slamming Sami Zayn, which, again, I agree with Zanka. Sami did all the work for that.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, that's just because it popped me. And also Stone Cold coming back. Everything was Stone Cold. Because I will say, knowing, and they haven't said too much about it, but knowing how Close to Friends 2.0, Angelo Parker, what's their names now? Angelo Parker and Matt
Daddy
Menard.
Magic.
Dude, Daddy Magic's hilarious. I love it. They're really close with KO. And so, like, for them even just like to mention, like, he's super fucking, like, he's like shitting himself. Like, you could tell, like, he was marking out, like, in his own mind, like, it was so cool to see, like, forever. And like, who would have thought? Like, I thought, I didn't realize it was going on last as well. And then everyone's like, it's going on last. Like, the main event of WrestleMania was Kevin Owens versus Stone Cold Steve Austin. Let alone, and not only that, Kevin Owens, the guy who never should have made it, was in the main event of WrestleMania, which I think is awesome. And I will say as well, there's a lot of rumors that Ronda Rousey was like being throwing hissy fits, whatever. Apparently, that's all false. So
I didn't even hear about that. What were they saying?
Yeah, like stuff came out initially because she left the Hall of Fame early, and then apparently people were saying that she was mad that she wasn't the actual main event. But then she came out on like Instagram and was like, "I left the Hall of Fame because I have like a 9-month-old baby at home that I had to tuck into bed," and she's like, "Yeah, I'm not mad at all. That we were like, Stone Cold had to follow us. Like like that was cool." So I just want to say that, but no, it was really badass. My match of the both nights was Becky versus Bianca though. That to me was so well built, and I said it from the beginning at SummerSlam when she came back and beat her in like 20 seconds. Like that they're not going to just let that be because Bianca's their top babyface in the women's division right now. Her and Liv are the top babyfaces in the women's division right now, but Bianca's way above Liv. And so I said from the beginning that they're not going to let this go. And that's another phenomenal long-term story because Bianca, like I said in the promo package, Becky said Bianca get back in the line. She did. And she earned her way back to to the best match of the night.
She went to the back of the line and she worked her way right back up to the front. That, like you said, perfect story. All the pieces were there. It was the wrestling match of the night. It was incredible. Becky coming out looking like David Bowie. That was fucking hilarious.
Dude, Becky's entrance too. She fucking spoofed in the WWE intro. That was incredible. And she came out in OJ's car.
The white Bronco. Oh, that was fucking hilarious, man. Yeah, I mean, what was your? Was that your favorite match? Was the
Becky Bianca? Becky and Bianca was my favorite match. I mean, I love Pat McAfee. Did such a phenomenal job, but that was more of a moment, and him and Theory had a great wrestling match as well. Yeah. I mean, there was just a lot that speaks to the volume of WrestleMania that everyone can have a different favorite match. I just loved Bianca and Becky because of the build and the fact that it delivered on the build. But no, Pat McAfee versus Austin Theory and subsequently Mr. McMahon, the whole stuff with that was that was phenomenal. Sami Zayn versus Johnny Knoxville was hilarious, but also weirdly, really good.
My favorite part was Cole. Michael Cole was losing it on commentary. I fucking loved it because he was enjoying every second of it, just like Sammy was enjoying every second of it.
Dude, Cole, Cole gets too much shit. And, especially Cole is so good. And we're going to miss, when Michael retires, we're going to miss Michael Cole. Like, it's like Zanka said, you noticed when he wasn't on commentary.
Yeah.
Especially him with Pat. Like, him and Pat are one, I think, depending on how long Pat stays around, which, because I don't see them quit firing him. I see him just saying, I have too much to do, so I'm going to leave. But I don't see that happening anytime soon. So I think I'm going to make a little prediction that in the annals of history, Pat McAfee and Michael Cole are going to go up there as one of the best announced duos of all time.
And plus, he's not doing this for money. He loves the WWE. Pat is doing this because he enjoys it. He doesn't need the paycheck. This dude's a millionaire. He's doing it because he loves it and he gets into it and it's genuine. And that's why we love him. And that's why he had a hell of a match, because that dude has his own wrestling ring. He probably worked the match out with fucking Austin Theory in that ring. I bet you fucking Lucha Logan and fucking Pat probably worked together in the ring to help each other out. That's how good of a dude Pat is.
Dude, yeah, it was just so cool. And Pat as well. Again, people complain about the celebrity aspect. They bring people in. Like Pat, one of my best friends back home is like a big Pat McAfee fan. And he knows I'm a really big wrestling fan. And whether for NXT and this, he texts me. He's like, "Hey, can I use your Peacock login? Like, I really want to watch. I want to watch Pat's match," and stuff like that. So it gets people in. Logan Paul gets fucking eyes. He has 23 million followers. Gets eyes on the product. Celebrities are commenting on these people's posts that have no association with wrestling. Like, "Oh, damn, dude, I watched for the first time in like 15 years. It was epic." Like, it draws people in. And when you have such a great card as you do, I think it's only. I don't know how long to be sustained, but I see an uptick. I don't know what Raw's numbers were for Monday. I mean, they got to be through the roof because of Ezekiel, but no, I suspect that for a little bit they're going to be up because of how good WrestleMania was.
The fucking Ezekiel, man, they don't even know. The people who aren't in the exclusive chat don't even know what has happened with Ezekiel. We'll get to it later. But speaking of Lucha Logan, by the way, Zanko is trying real hard to put over how big of a heel Lucha Logan is. Says he's a bigger heel than Hitler because Hitler had fans.
He's not wrong. I mean, if you're talking about taking a moment of time, obviously now, I wouldn't say that, but in the moment, he's kind of not wrong.
Oh, we didn't get your low light. What was your least favorite part of both nights?
It wasn't the match itself. It was the injury to Boogs, because Boogs is so. I mean, even Corbin and McIntyre was fine because they're gonna have at least a fine match. But no, I felt so bad. I don't know what the initial plan was. I know Zanka said that it looked like they might have been linked to the Usos, but I just feel so bad for Boogs. Boogs, if you don't follow Boogs on Instagram, he's just the best. I mean, he's Rick Boogs. He's awesome. I felt bad as soon as I saw that. A guy like him doesn't deserve that. I hope he recovers. I see him being a future world champ, honestly. So that was really it, because you could tell that it was real when it happened, and that match got shortened because of that. Because even like I think they said on the podcast, it was still okay.
Yeah, props to Shinsuke, by the way.
It wasn't like the best thing in the world. Obviously, I think it was the worst match on the card, but I feel that was really it, because the entrance was electric. I just felt bad, like that. That was my low light, because Boogs deserves more than that. Boogs deserved to win the titles and kick off WrestleMania right. It was a good call to have that be the first match of WrestleMania, just unfortunate circumstances, and big ups to Boogs and Styling Pete.
Hey, at least he got to do the entrance with the electric guitar and everything.
Dude, that entrance was fucking insane. Are you kidding me? Edge's entrance? Oh my god, 6 to midnight, dude.
That was awesome. The song goes with the gimmick. He's the new Undertaker. That's what it looked like to me. That was pretty neat. Neat. I said it on the podcast. They talked about the Cody Dustin dynamic, where Cody acts more like Dusty, but Dustin looks more like Dusty. That's fair. This is me personally saying this. I don't know if you can see the writing on the wall or not. If this was in New York, it would have been a disaster. I think the crowd's going to start booing Cody in 2 weeks. If he keeps coming out there and starts crying about his dad, I guarantee you they're going to give him the what treatment, and they're going to start booing him. If they keep doing this, if they keep doing what they're doing, it's going to be funny, because you remember in AEW how much hate he got, and he comes to WWE. If he gets the same heat, you think Vince will be like, oh, fuck this, we're turning him heel, get the Stardust outfit. What do you think Cody's future holds for him, Brettzky?
I don't know, because I think Cody's doing a lot of his own stuff. So I think Cody is going to be the one who has to see if it's working. I liked the promo, and I will say this because I see a lot on Twitter like, oh, WWE fans were saying that Cody sucks, and no, we weren't. We were just hating on him because he had the things to hate about Cody are gone. Brandy, and the fact that he was in charge of booking, at least somewhat. And even that's kind of up in the air right now, because we don't really know, because apparently Tony Khan took a lot more creative control. So we don't even really know that. But those are the things that people hated about Cody, and the fact that he was cutting with very similar kind of promos. But if I didn't watch AEW, because AEW has only as many viewers as they have. If I never watch AEW and I see Cody come back, I'm like, oh, if I'm a new fan, or if I watched like 6 years ago and I'm like, oh, this isn't, like the American Nightmare, he looks different. Where's he been? He cuts that promo, it tells you who he is, where he's been, what his mission statement is. And it gets you to feel sympathy for him if you've never seen him before, which is a lot of people. At least if you haven't seen him as the American Nightmare. And so I do like it. I agree that if he comes out and like he starts talking about his dad every week, then he's going to get booed. But I like the direction. I mean, the pop he got at Mania was insane. It was such a cool moment. Mike, I'm not a fan of Mike Rome as a ring announcer, but he did a great job announcing Cody. And I agree, but I do think that he's at a point where he's going to be world champion. He's 36, I think. He's something like that, and he said he's planning on retiring somewhere around 40. I think it's a 3-year deal. So it's very well could be, unless something changes, his last major run. He will win the world championship. Mark my words, he will.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think that I don't think that he's going to come out every week and do this. If he does, he will be booed. But I think it was for the people like us who have watched, it was like, oh, it's kind of like what he was doing in AEW. But I'm happy he's back. The dude, he set out to do what he did, and he did it. And he always said, at least from the beginning, he was like, I want to go back and prove to them I was undesirable, now I'm undeniable, that kind of thing. The McIntyre thing. Things changed with AEW, but I think that goal obviously kept in his mind, and whatever, he's not going into shoots about it, but the personal differences, whatever it was, he's back. We got a great reaction both nights. So I hope for the best for him. I've been a big Cody fan. I said it then, and I'll say it now. He was their biggest star. He was their best performer because he's the only one really used to the American wrestling system, because that's why Omega has been not really great since he came over. But no, I think it was a very good promo to introduce himself, but he needs to be careful. But I do think that, even just from interviews he said, I don't think he's going to go back to Stardust. I don't think he's going to turn heel very soon. I think he's going to do what he wants to do and just kind of keep that trajectory.
My hopes for Cody's WWE run this time, the end result, I'm going to Tarantino this. The end result for what I want, because world champion, of course, but for what I want Cody to defeat Orton. Now let's go back.
Yes.
Let's go back. For that to happen, we're going to need RK Bro to break up. We're going to need Orton to be sadistic. We're going to need him to rehash the legacy shit. Perhaps a Ted DiBiase Jr. cameo.
He ain't doing much.
Leading up to like a SummerSlam like feud between Cody and Orton, perhaps a number one contender match between the two. Cody goes over on Orton. I think that is I'm looking forward to that personally. The world title thing, that was probably a bargaining chip for Cody. Yeah, I'll come back, but I want that championship. And Vince was like, ugh, whatever, we'll give it to you at Hell in a Cell. Like, I don't know how that conversation went, but that was probably a bargaining chip. But me personally, I want to see Cody finally beat Orton. That's what I want to see. But like I said, there's going to be a can of worms that needs to be opened before then.
That'd be a great match, too.
I digress.
I think that should happen at WrestleMania 39. I think Orton versus Rhodes should happen at Mania 39, because that should be Roman and Rock. If they can work the scheduling out, that should be Roman and Rock. And then Cody beats Orton and wins the title at not this upcoming SummerSlam, but SummerSlam in 2023. That's what I think.
WrestleMania 39 in California, by the way.
Yeah.
Jake was meh on Stone Cold's match and moment. The disrespect.
I know. I couldn't believe that motherfucker. What a bitch.
He didn't even like Omos versus Bobby.
How can you not like Omos versus Bobby?
This is Jake. I don't know. Jake is the ultimate casual fan to be doing a wrestling podcast on.
Except he's not, because the casual fan would be so pumped about Austin coming back.
I know, you know how Jake is, but that's why I think the Still We're After Party podcast works, because Zank is such a hardcore fan, whereas Jake is the Hulu man. And it's just funny to see them bicker about wrestling and stuff. But yeah, the Stone Cold shit, for someone who hasn't had a match in 19 years to come back and put on that kind of a performance both nights was incredible. Stone Cold ruled in Dallas. It was nostalgic, but the good kind of nostalgic. And it's not like Stone Cold's going to be like, oh, I'm coming on Raw, I'm coming for the 24/7 title. No, this was
apparently he's done
time at the for WrestleMania, and I don't think he'll be back, which is good. He went out in a more positive way, even though personally WrestleMania 19 is my favorite of all time because of the Rock Austin story and how it ended. Stone Cold got to go out in a more chipper way, where drinking beer. The dude was half drunk and he beat up Kevin Owens. Won the match. He got to stun Vince McMahon in the most awkward way imaginable. People are gonna remember that forever. It was awesome. I loved it. I don't see how Jake was so meh on the whole thing, but the hell.
There's Jake. I don't take anything he says seriously. So
exactly.
The
guys love Johnny Knoxville versus Sammy. This is what I want to ask you, Brett. Do you think Steve-O is banned because of what happened with Umaga? Do you remember?
Oh, what happened? I'm trying to remember now. What happened to
The
Umaga?
Jackass. This isn't the first time the Jackass crew has invaded WWE. Many moons ago, they were promoting another Jackass movie, and Steve-O had a match with Umaga, and Umaga put him on the back. He body slammed him, beat the shit out of him. Steve-O can take it. Umaga did the splash, the Uso splash off the top rope. Steve-O stood up and started laughing. He no-sold Umaga.
Oh yeah.
And that pissed off everybody backstage. And so that's why I'm thinking why Steve-O wasn't allowed to be out there, because he's, what is he, shadow banned from fucking WWE now? Because we haven't seen him since. We haven't seen him since. So possibly. I don't know.
Very well. I forgot about that. God damn, that's a callback.
Jake gives it a full pie. Zanka 7 with the crust. Interesting. Jake hates Riddle CGI bird. Jake's just full of hate this whole episode. And then we enter the Tony Khan fact chop shop. Rafiki or Rafiq was Tony Khan's middle name. I didn't know.
I can't believe he guessed that.
I would have been chopped all 3 times. I didn't know any of this shit.
I know his middle name starts with R because his handle is Tony R Khan, but I had no fucking clue it was Rafiq.
Well, if Zanko would have reached out to you, Brett, and said, "Hey, Brett, do you have a random Tony Khan fact you can give me for Jake in the chop shop?" What would you have responded with?
Do you know that he has a 1987 Chicago Bulls t-shirt that he wears on TV?
That he skeets into frequently.
Man, remember that? That was wild when that happened. That gave us so much content.
Was that 2 years ago?
That was 2 years ago, I think.
My
that was
God,
2 years
and
ago.
then Sticks called him Tony Skeets, and the rest was history.
That's history. There you go.
Good Lord, it's only gotten worse. Actually, we like him less now than we did back then.
Well, Zanka likes bad shit, and Zanka said that Tony Khan's his favorite on-screen character. It's bad. Oh my God. I mean, yeah, no, this isn't the tripod. If it was a tripod, I'd be talking about this a lot more. But Tony Khan should never hold a live microphone.
Tony Khan should have been like Jack Tunney and rarely made an appearance.
Dude, Jack Tunney's the man. Jack Tunney ruled.
But he rarely made an appearance. Tony Khan's over here with that. Oh God, his hair. He looks like broke Tim Burton coming out here, always trying to give us some breaking news about AEW. It's like, all right, dude, that's enough. You look like a douche. You act like a douche on Twitter. Just stay away. Go Marco stunt yourself so we don't have to ever hear from you again.
Go Marco stunt yourself.
The Facebook questions could retire because only Facebook Sean and myself are the only two.
You didn't even ask a question.
You know, I see what Facebook Sean does, and I try to slip something in there real quick to try and put him in a better mood or something. And then Facebook Sean is responsible for draining the energy out of both of them and just making them rush the end of the show because they're so tired. But I mean, it's a funny gimmick. It played out at Decent Mania. It's still playing out because Facebook Sean. I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to tell you the specifics behind the scene. I'll tell you off air. But Facebook Sean sent all of his stories to Jake and Zanka along with a bunch of random gifts. Facebook Sean retires. We get a Peter Wayne Kent mention. Big ups, Peter Wayne Kent.
Yeah.
Stallion Pete. What did you think when you heard that Facebook Sean sent them those stories, all of his stories and random trinkets and gifts and shit?
Well, I cried when I heard he retired. I had to pause the episode, and I challenge. I know that Zanko probably watch this about like 2 months from now. Jake won't. I challenge you boys, and I will clip this and put it into the chat if they don't watch this. Next episode, 10 bell salute. 10 bell salute for Facebook Sean.
Well, they attempted the 10 bell salute.
I know, but we need a proper 10 bell salute. Even though this one was really funny. Because Jake's a bitch and Jake lost count. Zank did like 14.
He was laughing during it too. It's funny. He's like,
exactly. You can't laugh. You can't laugh during a man's obituary. But no, I think it was really funny when Jake just like, oh, a marble. Like, no, Facebook Sean, I think this solidifies Facebook Sean's place in the Hall of Fame because this was fucking hilarious. This was absolutely legendary. And Jake, in classic fashion, was a bitch and opened the package before you're supposed to.
Just like he reads the questions before the fucking podcast.
What an absolute piece of shit.
The disrespect.
The disrespect to the listeners.
They do recap Raw. They both think okay, here we go.
Yes,
This
Zeke Dog.
is the catalyst to one of the most legendary runs in the chat we've ever had.
And it's been like 3 days.
It started with a little spark and ignited into the world on fire. The hottest new trend in media is wholesome Ezekiel, and this is where it began, my friends. They both think Ezekiel's non-beard face looks weird because of the skin. Jake and Zanka don't want to show their non-beard faces. I don't blame them. This little what do I have here hides all the chins as well. not very well, but still. Yeah, says Jake doesn't like Veer. Okay, that's changing subjects.
Yeah, again, Jake's a bitch.
Jake is a bitch.
Veer rules.
So let's set the table here. So they started off the Ezekiel talk here. And when I got, I'm ashamed of myself when I'm saying this, but Ezekiel came out on Raw to Stock Rock. I was like, what the fuck is this bullshit? This is some dumb shit. I know. It's disrespectful. I know. It's controversial here.
You say you're sorry. Say you're sorry.
I apologize to all the Ezekielites. When I first saw Ezekiel out there and Kevin, I was with Kevin Owens. What the fuck is this? Who are you? Elias? What's wrong with you? I was wrong. I'm man enough to admit I was wrong. Okay, that is clearly Elias's younger brother, the better of the brothers. Ezekiel, wholesome Ezekiel, began this night. And it seems like it was a month ago because of the chat, but no, it was just last Monday. Ezekiel, the Raw after WrestleMania, made the biggest debut of all times. And in the chat, our Sheriff Zanka, he had an idea. The sheriff, he's an innovator. He started making memes of wholesome Ezekiel, to which all of us in the Steel World Pride Parade joined on. And this went on for days. It's still going on. I was barely paying attention to NXT and Dynamite because I was having a hell of a time with you guys in the chat. We were all making Ezekiel memes, and then we flipped it with evil Elias memes. And then
Elias sucks. Elias is a rotten human being.
And then Brettzky mentioned that there's a third brother, Elton. Is to set the chat on fire, Brettzky. What are your thoughts on wholesome Ezekiel and his brothers?
Well, I would like to say I was there because if I remember correctly, the only people in the chat when Zanka was encouraged to make more, it was Zanka, Jake, and me. Because I was about to go to bed because it was about midnight for me. And I stayed up to like 5 a.m. making Ezekiel memes and solely making Ezekiel memes. I think he could, because I think I initially made the meme of like Ezekiel saying like Ezekiel like dislikes your shit taste in wrestling or something like that. Yep. And I kept sending it to Jake because Jake sucks with his opinions. And then Zanka came in with the morning fellas, which popped me. And then I think either me or Jake said, or Jake already said, "Oh, wholesome Ezekiel is hilarious." And then it took off. And now he's posting about it in his story and on his Instagram, and Moose is commenting on it. Bailey is commenting on it. It is the biggest thing. He's going to beat Cody. He's going to be the first one to beat Cody. He's going to be the first one to beat Veer. He's going to be the first. He's going to beat Omos. Ezekiel is the man. Elton, we haven't seen Elton yet.
Not yet.
Elton's he's a masseuse. No, he's a little bit. He likes to indulge in certain activities every now and then. So Ezekiel isn't fully approved, but he still brings a very positive energy. Elias, on the other hand, Elias is the oldest brother. He's just a salty, he's just full of vinegar.
He's
He
rotten.
kicks babies.
He's rotten.
Ezekiel tips 20% minimum. Elias tips 5% max.
Of course.
I'm so happy. I legitimately, like, we joked about it in the chat, but if this gets traction, we were the first ones to do this.
Technically, it got traction. They should
It
give
did,
all the
but
credit.
it gets traction on TV. Like, if this spawns more than, like, for 2 days, Ezekiel's posting, like, oh, haha, like, these memes. If this actually sustains, because people online were hating on Ezekiel, and then they turned essentially because of us.
Yep.
And so we literally, because we think what someone said as a joke in the chat, but it kind of sunk into me that we could have just changed the trajectory of this man's run.
This trajectory, this run of Ezekiel, the genesis was the Steel Rail after party, and I hope they get shouted out when Elias dethrones Roman and becomes the biggest thing in professional wrestling. He's so wholesome.
You mean Ezekiel dethrones Roman?
You see, Elias, he's so evil, he got me to think in reverse. Corrupted my thoughts. Ezekiel is the man. Ezekiel is the man who will dethrone Roman and bring us into the next WrestleMania in Hollywood, by the way. Possibly.
It's going to be Wholesome Mania. Wholesome Mania.
Wholesome Mania, brother. But we
running wild on you.
We do encourage whoever is watching this right now to make your own wholesome Ezekiel memes, but make sure to tag the Steel Rail after party as well, because that's where it originated. But I just thought to tell the listeners, all 4 of you, how much fun it's
Dude, I'm so proud.
Making the wholesome Ezekiel memes, and yeah, I hope it catches fire.
We just made that man so much money if he keeps it up and goes on the indies as wholesome Ezekiel. I'm so proud of that. Like, legitimately speaking, it is so cool to think that we, like, could potentially have, like, impacted something.
I'm gonna start a GoFundMe to get him better entrance music. But I digress.
No, it needs to be that. He's too humble to get better entrance music. Like, he thinks in his mind that, like, the entrance music is, like, okay, but he would never say anything about it because he thinks that other people deserve better entrance music than him. He hasn't earned that yet. And
a big shocker, by the way, Jake doesn't like Veer.
I know. I couldn't believe it.
Says he looks weird. This is where Zanka foreshadows the beginning of the Ezekiel's memes with the morning fellas. This is where he said it in the podcast. Zanka drops the Fuji weight belt concept during this episode, which blew my fucking mind. I had no idea that could even exist, and this is where it started. And folks, only the people who watch APPW watch this, so you'll care the most. The Fuji Weight Belt Championship is coming to APPW, and it's all thanks to the sheriff. Sheriff Zanka has brought the Fuji Weight Belt to APPW, meaning the Decent Championship is no more, thanks to some fucker, but the Decent Championship is no more. We now will have the Fuji Weight Championship tournament that will kick off on season 3. That's what I heard from the bigger ups in APPW.
That's true. We don't even know who that is right now. Can you tell us who it is, or
I don't even know. I talked to Ten.
Is this a disembodied voice?
Ten Cunts was cleaning bathrooms. I interrupted him, and he said he doesn't even know. He has COVID right now, so he's not gonna know. He's not gonna be in the know until after the year-end awards. Then we'll have a better idea of how it goes. Because
tell the people what are the year-end awards going to be? Tell the people.
Oh well, the year-end awards. Just like last year, we're gonna have Superstar of the Year, which will not be Ribby. We will have.
Yes, it will. It will be Ribby. It will be Ribby. He's going to win Superstar of the Year and Breakout Superstar of the Year.
Feud of the Year. We will have Match of the Year. We will have Commentator of the Year. There wasn't really guest commentator.
Wow.
There wasn't many, but I mean there was at the beginning of the season. And Female Superstar of the Year, Breakout Superstar of the Year, which
Ribby.
I need people to vote. So when I start posting shit, please vote. Because
if there's not an option to vote for Ribby in every category,
even Woman of the Year.
Well, we don't know if he's a man or woman.
You just said he. No.
Shut up, Mangria. Don't give me your logic.
Zanka, Fujiway, they talk about not caring for the NXT title match, which of course we touched upon earlier. He should Suge Knight. Oh, Zanka was talking about MVP turning on Lashley, and he dropped the LOL line of the night for me. He should Suge Knight Bobby Lee, which he meant to say. he meant to say Bobby Lashley, but I thought that was fucking funny. Jake said Brett is worse than Cynic. The disrespect during reading your question. I don't know if you
I know. I was very upset.
Do you have a message? Bad. Do you have a message to Jake for calling you worse than Cynic?
Yeah, fuck you, Jake. That is the ultimate disrespect. I didn't even ask anything bad. The only reason that it got brushed over was because Zanka was too tired.
After all that fucking Facebook Sean shenanigans. Zanka
Jake K. Yosef.
Zanka wants to see more of Brettzky versus Cesar. Jake is tired of it. The disrespect, Jake.
The disrespect to the feud of the year.
Jake kind of steps on a lot of Brett's questions and hashtags, by the way. Zanka was trying to read all your shit, and Jake just kept... Jake just can't. He started stepping on everything. He Caesar'd Zanka.
The disrespect to Cesar, by the way, comparing him to Jake.
Zanka's Omos impression.
Oh, so
fucking good. Hilarious. Zanka's Eugene and Lucha Logan is fucking hilarious. No, that might have been Lucha Logan. Don't be racist. Because of what Jake responded with, it was all kinds of funny. Zanka and the impressions, man. That's why I try to have him do the Mangina filled impressions, because he has that. What was it? That comedian, the Indian comedian.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, he does that voice when he does Mangina's fucking voice.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Hilarious. By the way, props to everybody in the Instagram questions for making Zanka chop Jake multiple times. He deserved it. Jake lost the chop shop. He got chopped. This might be the most times in one episode where Jake has been chopped. So hold on. Bravo to everybody in Instagram questions, chopping the shit out of that fat piece of garbage.
I'll take a little bit. I'll take a pat in the back.
Props. Hey, big ups to Brettzky.
Yo, big SIMP. I'll be right back. I get my laptop charged. I'll be right back.
Okay. Well, to the people, again, APPW will be returning. I will have the awards show. I'm going to take my time because I want this to be good. Last year's award show, some of the videos got taken down because of the song.
Did it really?
The song I used was copyrighted. By the way, I used that song in every category, but they only took down one of the categories, which makes zero sense. So fucking dumb. Instagram with their music laws and copyright shit, whatever. I use copyrighted music on APPW every week, so fuck you.
Hey, you do.
But the next videos will have a different song, not to piss off Instagram for the categories. But yeah, I digress. It will come out. Don't hold your breath, but 3 weeks will probably be the target time. But I'm
holding my breath, Mingria.
The guys are rushing through the end of the show, of course, because they're tired, which I understand. This is before their workday. They said they have an entire workday ahead of them. The show is an hour and a half, roughly.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, and it's hard doing an hour of fucking podcasting. And then, like right now, if I had to go to work, I'd be pissed. But I'm, thankfully, no.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even like when I asked Jake, like what time they recorded, he's like, "Oh, yeah, like 4:30 in the morning." Like, why?
They're the first two people in the building, apparently, and you got to imagine people walking in and seeing them on the fucking podcast, and they're like, "What the fuck are they doing?"
He was like walking, you see Zanka chopping Jake. You're like, "Oh yeah, it's just another Wednesday."
They're calling in the police. There's an attack happening at our job. No, but thank you, Brettzky, for joining me here for the Hangover. I know you thought the episode was over, but it's not, my friend. Because
It's
now
not.
you've entered a game show. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, you motherfucker! That's my gimmick. That's my gimmick.
No, I reached out to our boys in the Steel Real Pride Parade, and they sent me some questions for you.
Oh, Jesus.
So, from a cynic chaos,
Nah, skip it.
which cynic personality would you put the APPW championship on? None of them is not an option.
Oh, fuck, that was my answer. Probably Farnsworth, because I think Farnsworth is funny because of how tall he is. And also he has terrible dance moves. And so I just want to see him win the title just to see Zanka beat the fuck out of him and win it back. Because I mean it's like the lesser of like 13 evils. So I would say it's certainly not Blake Flavors. Anyone who likes Jake is absolute asshole. So not Blake Flavors. I mean, Cynic by himself, he almost tanked the company. Tommy Dong, I'm not even going to talk about Tommy Dong. He shouldn't even be on TV anymore. So I mean, fucking Sheriff Farnsworth, sure. Sheriff Farnsworth, I feel sports entertained by Sheriff Farnsworth.
The promos from Farnsworth are pretty fucking funny. But
yeah.
Tommy Dong got murdered by Mr. Fuji, who is your
damn
brand
right
new
he did.
YouTube champion, by the way.
Save that belt.
Is it true you call Goldberg daddy?
I never liked Gold. What?
This is his question.
No, it is not true. That's Andy. I've been mistaken for Andy a decent bit recently. No, that's Andy.
Are you the top or the bottom?
I'm actually going to respond to that with a quote from Family Guy. Anyone who asks that is automatically a bottom.
This question is from
Matthew. It was all from Cynic.
That was all Cynic.
Okay.
The next
Makes
one
sense.
Are from Matthew JH 138, your personal favorite. What has been your favorite tourist site to see while in the UK?
Wait, hold on. All right, awesome tie game. Sorry, no, the Yankees are in extra innings right now, and it's opening day against the Red Sox. So they just tied the game in extras, which is pretty cool. But my favorite tourist site, was that the question?
Yes.
I don't know. I will say, in all seriousness, Scotland. If you have a chance to go to Edinburgh, whatever they pronounce it differently, to Scotland, Edinburgh, Scotland. I believe it's the capital. Then I would go because it is such a beautiful city. It's very old, very historic. It has some modern aspects, so it's very like there's the giant castle. It's like very picturesque. It's like straight out of a movie. A lot of really cool stuff to do. I would absolutely. Scotland itself was beautiful. I mean, I was in Glasgow for a day. I mean, I did a whole day trip up to through the Highlands up to Loch Ness and Inverness. If you can just go to Scotland if you can, because it's such a great place. So I would say Scotland's my favorite, and more specifically Edinburgh. And
you had a beer with Drew's parents, right?
No, I wish I could have. Scotland's like on the other side of the fucking country.
Oh, okay.
So I wasn't able to go, but no, Glasgow's only about an hour train ride, so that was close enough to go. But definitely, if you have an opportunity to go to Scotland, then go. It is the most beautiful country.
I do envy you, young man. You have stories to tell for the rest of your life. That's a hell of an experience out there. Who should be the one to officially retire John Cena in a WrestleMania match?
Ooh, it's a good question. I'm gonna say this theory has been thrown out there before, and this idea has been thrown out there before. And I think Orton himself has thrown this out. I'm gonna say Randy Orton should. I think he's thrown the idea out before of Orton versus Cena at Mania, where they each have had 16 world titles and the title is vacated, and whoever wins breaks the record.
Nice.
And I would like to see that with Orton breaking the record and beating Cena, and Cena retires after. That's what I would like to see.
He punched Cena in the head.
He punched him into retirement.
Sticks at him.
But I'm a big Orton guy. I'm a very big fan of Randy Orton. And the fact he said he has like 10 years left, which I believe.
Holy shit. Well, I mean, look at everybody else. Fucking Stone Cold's 59. He's in there mixing it up.
Dude, Orton takes such good care of himself.
Yeah, he does.
And he's such a safe worker. Like, he absolutely could do it. And I'm a big fan of his, so I would love to see that.
I can't wait for old man Orton to drop RKO's on a fucking 90-year-old Vince McMahon.
Oh my God. Dude, Orton's gonna be RKOing people till he dies. He's going to be doing RKOing people till he dies.
He's gonna be RKOing his grandkids.
Oh, he absolutely will be. He RKOs his own kids.
Sticks at him. If Brettzky were to think up an elaborate plan to kill the ancient vampire Sting, how would he do it?
Oh wow. Interesting. Well, I'd probably just give his address to Caesar. And that's it. I mean, I know it's not elaborate.
Though. That's kind of dangerous though, because Sting goes over on black people.
Wait, but no, Caesar has learned from the ways of white people Wednesday. He has that knowledge in his back pocket, so he knows how to counter it.
He's just gonna break a bar stool from the Big Brunch Cantina and stab Sting in the fucking chest with the steak.
Pretty much, yeah, pretty much. He's gonna make him overdose on Plan B pills.
Jake Travers asks,
"Oh, what a bitch! This guy sucks. I hate him already."
Does British puss smell like fish and chips?
Oh my God, that's horrible. The fact that that's now even in my mind is I hate it. No, it does not. Fuck you, Jake.
And our main event, the main event is from Big Carpe himself. Julius Caesar asks.
Wow, we actually got around to asking a question for this podcast, not a Still Real After Party.
I had to reach out directly to him. He asks, when Brettzky hears chains drop, does his Jew senses kick in and he knows how much it is?
Yeah, I actually I have a mental calculator where, like, if I hear all of a sudden it's like I just hear, oh, 20. That's 20 cents. It's 2 dimes. So
people don't know that's how Brother Quarter came into APPW. Is Brettzky heard a quarter drop. He went to investigate, and he's like, "Hey, young 25, why don't you come with me?"
Yeah. They betrayed me and went with Caesar.
That's true. The disrespect.
Honestly,
well,
come on, BQ. You owe your career to me.
He's now laying up in a hospital.
That's true.
Thanks to
Andy. You know what? The enemy of my enemy is my friend. Andy did him wrong. He
did, and he joined Jake.
I know. How could you? I don't care how many fat women he gets. How could you join Jake?
It's because Jake welcomed Goldberg with open arms. So, Andy kind of melted from there. And that's how.
But to think, that's not only is it a faction with Jake, it has one of Cynic in there. The only saving grace of that faction is Ruby.
Who's not even in 2K22. No.
Yeah, but you're going to make him.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Well, Brettzky, go ahead. I now give the floor to you to plug whatever you want. Those 4 people are desperately going to want to hear how to listen to the full pod. Go ahead and tell them, my friend.
Well, first of all, thank you to Mangria for inviting me on. I'm very happy we were able to work out the scheduling time. So appreciate that, and appreciate you having me back here, talk about the Silver After Party. So I'll give Mangria a shout out. If you're on his YouTube channel, I don't know, do you put this on Spotify or anything like that? Or
I could.
Actually, I don't know if you stop that or not. So yeah, listening to this on audio. I don't know where the fuck, if on YouTube, Mangria Fuel's YouTube page. If you're already here, then subscribe and watch all of his content. Whether it's the Hangover, the tripod, which I'm occasionally on, which I actually will have an update about my future on the tripod, hopefully soon. So check the tripod, APPW, all that. Go check it out. I will also shout out the Silver After Party podcast because as you said, we talk about them. They're kind of inspiration for this, and any podcast that creates wholesome Ezekiel. It's a good podcast, my nerd. So go check out at Still Real After Party. Great meme page, great podcast, great content. Don't follow at Funko Fat Guy, and don't follow at Skip Damn Well. Don't follow them because they suck. I will say for me, you can follow me on Instagram at the Great Brettzky 99. You can follow my podcast on Instagram at thefauxpod.cast. That's at THEFAUXPOD.CAST. My podcast is called The Faux Pod. You can find it on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Anchor, Stitcher, Good Pods, wherever you get your podcasts. It's THE space FAUX space POD. Just me interviewing. It's been less weekly than it usually is, but it's me interviewing another young adult, college student for the most part. We'll talk about life, talk about advice, talk about stuff they're into, kind of get their name out there, get their brand out there before they hit it big. I've also had people like Mangria on there, episode number 13, Cesar, episode number 26, Jake, episode 16, Zanka, episode 32. I believe Sticks was episode 34. Andy, I think, was episode 38. So go check out the Faux Pod if you want a good time. Get to learn some new things, get to have fun, listen to some fun conversations, have some laughs, get some new insights. There you go.
And cut him some slack. The man is living his life. He's overseas. If it's not weekly, just have some patience. All right. The man, he's a college student. He's getting laid across in a different continent. Come on now. But yeah, Brettzky, thank you again so much for joining me for talking about the Steel World After Party podcast, the podcast that brought us all together. Again, you can check it out before the major 4 pay-per-views, or sometimes money.
Whatever the hell they want.
But we'll see what happens in the future. But until next time, ladies and gentlemen, we do have big ups for Stallion Pete, but this is the Hangover. So, ladies and gentlemen, all hail Linda's Bush.
Whoa!